I have these two windows right here in my daughter's room and I need to put some trim around it. So let me show you guys how to put some modern yet elegant trim around your windows. Let's get started. So when it comes to trimming out a window, there's gonna be a few prep things you need to do before you actually start making your measurements and cutting your trim. The first thing is making sure you fill the gaps and cracks of your window with spray foam. The other thing you wanna make sure to do is grab some sort of scraper and scrape all around your window. Make sure you get all the old caulk off, or if there's any rough spots around the edges on both the window and the drywall, you want to get that off so that the new trim can go on there nice and flush. Now that you guys have those two things done, we need to start measuring. Now I have two windows in this room and they're the exact same size, so I'm going to be measuring both and making cuts at the same time. However, we're just going to be focusing on this left window in the video. When it comes to trimming out a window, the easiest method I think is doing it piece by piece. Some people build a whole casing and then put it on the window. So we're gonna start at the bottom and work our way up. To show you kind of an idea what we're gonna do, we're gonna have a 1x3, and then we're gonna take a 1x2 and put it like so. So this is how the trim is gonna sit on the window at the bottom. First measurement we're gonna make is for our 1x2, and we're gonna make sure we're gonna go past the damaged wall. 38 inches. For the 1x2, and make sure you write all your measurements down because you will forget. And then for the 1x3, I'm actually gonna measure up top, and that's gonna be 37 inches roughly. Now that we have the two measurements, I'm gonna go make two cuts on the 1x3 and the 1x2. So I got my boards cut. Now I wanna determine the center of the window. I'm gonna measure from edge to edge, 33.5 inches. Divide that by 2. So it'll be 16.5 inches right there. We want to do the same thing to our board. We want to mark center on that. 37 divided by 2 is 18.5. And what we also want to do too, mark center on our 2-inch board. 38 divided by 2 is 19. So now what we want to do is mark where this board is going to sit. So we have a rough estimate of where this board needs to go. Take our level. Make sure it's level, which it is, because if this board is not level, it throws it all off. We're gonna sink our first nail in. Now, one thing I wanna state, I'm using 16 gauge nail out of an airless nailer. You can use 15 gauge nails if you want, or even an 18 gauge nail. Check the level again, looking good. We're gonna set this board on top and make sure that it sits nice and flush, which it does. Now we need to finish nailing this in. We did have a nail right here not fully set, so we're just gonna use a nail punch and a hammer and set it. Now, you can't really see on the camera, but this is actually tilted back a hair. So in order to fix this, we are gonna grab our hammer and a pry tool, pry it out just a hair. All right, so now it's flush at the bottom and it leaves a little gap at the top. That's because it's not super even here. The window is set back from the drywall a hair. But what that does is it allows a nice flat base for this piece of wood to set on. So now this piece is fully set in place. It's not going anywhere. We're gonna take some wood glue and we're gonna lather it on the top of this board. And again, we have our center mark marked on both boards here. So we'll line that up like so. We're gonna double check our edges, make sure they look even, which they do. Then we're gonna take a 21 gauge pin nailer and sink some nails in. Wipe any excess glue off. So I did have a nail pop out here, so I'm gonna cut it off with my multi-tool. And I'm gonna sink one more nail in there. All right, so we got our bottom piece of trim set here with our little lip. If you want, you can make this a 3-inch lip if you want it to stick out more, but I like this low profile here as it prevents you from running into it. Now the next step here is measuring from the bottom of this sill all the way up to about a 1/4 inch off the bottom of the window there. So we're gonna say 52.5 inches on this side, and this side should be the same roughly, but we're gonna double check. 52.5 inches. So now I gotta go back outside and cut 2 more pieces of trim. All right, so we got our pieces of wood cut. Now we gotta install them on both sides of the window. Again, we'll be using wood glue for this to help seal it down at the bottom. Put a nice thick coat of wood glue down. Now, I like to use pin nails for the inside of the trim going into the window itself, because you don't wanna risk having a thick nail crack anything and or cause the window to expand and not be able to open the window up. All right, so we got it started with some pin nails. We'll go over to the 16 gauge nailer, sink a couple on the outside. I'm gonna keep working my way up, making sure that it's even with the window. Gotta bow in just a hair, so we're gonna try to move that out. Also, I did fail to mention I am using 2.5-inch long nails in this nailer. All right, now we're gonna finish pin nailing this. Just send a couple pin nails in. Sending pin nails in at angles kind of help lock it down as well. There's the first board on. We're gonna wipe down that excess glue. Now some of you may be wondering why I'm gluing the joints. Well, it really helps seal up the joint and keep it bonded together. So over time when stuff moves and the house moves, the trim will stay together and not show any cracks or gaps. We have a couple nails sticking out, we're gonna get those. Let's move on to this side. Same thing here, send a couple pin nails in. I'm gonna send some brad nails in on the outside. Also, one thing I wanna state too, is right next to your window, you're gonna have two 2x4 studs. So that's what these nails are gonna be going into. We got a little bit of a curvature to this right here. So we're gonna kind of form it and bend it. All right, we got all our brad nails sunk. Now let's get our pin nails in. All right, so we got our two pieces of trim on the side mounted and they're nice and solid. So now we gotta work on our top piece or the header. So the only measurement we need is the outside corners. So we're gonna take our tape measure and measure that. We're looking at 37.25. So we're gonna add 1/2 inch to that because we want a 1/4 inch overhang on both sides. So it's gonna be 37.75. So I'm gonna go outside and cut a 1x5 to overhang 1/4 inch on both sides. And then I'm also gonna cut a piece of 1x2 to overhang another 1/4 inch on both sides of the 1x5. So let me go cut those. We got our board cut. We're gonna test fit it on top real quick. So we're looking at these gaps in between the board here. And I noticed this is reset back just a hair, so we're gonna have to pull this board out a hair. Same on this side, we gotta pull this out a hair too. In order to do that, again, just pry just a hair. The same on this side, we need a little more on this side. Let's test fit it again. That's pretty good right there. Same thing here, we're gonna take our wood glue and put it on top. Just wanna make sure you put it on both sides of the boards this time. We're gonna set it, making sure that we have that nice overhang. Take our brad nailer right here, send a nail in. Same over here, send a nail in. So our board's set in place. I'm just gonna send a couple more nails. Wipe that excess glue off. Same with the other side. I failed to mention before, make sure you mark center on the window and this board. You can eye it up, but you may be not perfect and it may be off just a hair. 38 divided by 2. Up top, we're just gonna check and make sure that lines up good, which it does. Take your wood glue and line the whole top. Grab your pin nailer and your wood and set it right on top. And take your pin nailer and nail it into this board right here. So we got our window all trimmed out. It's looking pretty good. Now we need to fill in the holes and caulk, so let's do that. All right, for some reason my camera wasn't recording, but real quick, I wanna touch upon the product that I used for filling in the nail holes. I'm using Plastic Wood X made by DAP. Goes on pink as you can see and dries natural. I wanna point out real quick too, make sure you fill in these two joints up here that butt together. It'll help make them seamless. And also fill in all your nail holes, such as your 16 gauge nail holes and your pin nail holes. When it comes to caulking, I like to use a high grade caulk, such as this Alex Flex made by DAP. It's a little more expensive. It's meant for like crown molding. You'll be glad that you spent the extra few dollars per tube in the long run. And all you're gonna do here is caulk the whole window and then come back with a finger to smooth it out. If your tip gets dirty, make sure you do wipe it off. So now I like to take my finger with a glove on, paper towel or wet rag, and start wiping. And all the goal is here to smooth out that caulk. You don't want to remove too much of it because then it makes it not as thick and it may actually crack over time. So we're not pressing too hard, just enough to where we could push it in and form it a bit. Now lastly, don't forget to caulk the very top. Even though you're not going to see it, bugs can get in through there, air can get in through there. And let's say you set something up there like a key or something small to unlock a door, it could squeeze through that crack. So always caulk the top. All right, so the caulking's done, the holes are filled in. Now we need to let it dry for a bit and we'll come back and sand it. All right, so it's the next day, and as you can see, I got a big mess going here. I got a ton of trim work going on for multiple different projects, but when it comes to sanding, everything takes the same. A 240 grit sandpaper on a random orbital sander. And then all you need to do is get to sanding. Now that all the sanding's done, you want to vacuum all your trim and kind of wipe it off. Just get any of that dust off so that then you can paint after that. So right now in this room I have all the trim put up, including the door trim, the window trim, and the baseboard trim, as well as an accent wall I'm working on. But when it comes to painting all this trim that was different styles and different installation methods, it's exactly the same on how to paint it. The product I'm going to be using to paint all the trim is made by Woodster Pro. It's a 1/4 inch nap and it's meant to leave a nice smooth finish on your paint. Now it is roller specific. They have this roller right here and you need to make sure that you buy it with these paint rollers. I've never used this product before, but I'm excited to try it out and see if it leaves a nice smooth finish. And when it comes to the paint I'm using, I'm gonna be using a Sherwin-Williams paint, their Emerald Edition. This is a pretty expensive paint. We used it on around our whole house and it did great. So we're gonna keep using this and see how it turns out. So let's get to painting. So now that all the painting's done, the window trim is officially complete. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them down in the comment section down below and I'll answer them. Again, leave a like if you thought this trim work was good. And if there's anything I could have done better, please leave a comment down below letting me know what I could do next so I could improve my trim work for the next time. Thank you for watching this video, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.